Live. Hello, everybody. Thank you so
Hello.
much. Hello. Hello, Chelsea. Hello, Emily. Hello, audience. Thank you all very much for choosing to spend some time with us today and talking about the right data collection partner, how to choose that. Want to welcome everybody here. And again, thank you so much for your time. We are going to go ahead and get started. Topic for today is choosing the right data collection partner. And we're going to be talking about ways to do that. And also, really excited to bring on a couple special guests with us to talk about real world insights and then give you some real world customers. And we hope that the dialogue is valuable and that you pick up something. And really, at the end of the day, we just want to make sure that you're also able to get a hold of any one of us should you have more questions in the spirit of really helping you and your organization collect data accurately and efficiently. So we'll go ahead and get started with a little bit of housekeeping. Okay. All right. And so a little bit of housekeeping for the On24 platform. For those of you who are unfamiliar, you can manipulate the widgets on screen to your liking. Please use the toolbars to open or close windows. You can resize the windows at your leisure if you would like. And we have a Q&A section. We will be answering questions at the end of the webinar, and please go ahead and use that. Let's see, does everybody use the screen? It's live. Let me check to see. I think so, right? Is everybody seeing the screen? Looks like the live
I
view.
can see it.
Okay, thank
Housekeeping,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, the housekeeping. Okay, awesome.
Yep.
That's what I thought. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so what I was saying was join the Q&A using the Ask a Question module, and we will be answering those questions at the end. We will be making the recording available after the call for review, and then visit the Resource Center for more, which I'll be talking about as we kind of wrap up the presentation. And so it's kind of a little bit of housekeeping around the way that On24 looks. We want to make sure that you are aware of how to engage with us and that you're comfortable with how to navigate the presentation today. So I'll go ahead and make some quick introductions. My name is Paul Lazatin, is how you pronounce my last name. I direct our partnerships team at FormAssembly, and I've been here for 7 years. And I may know many of you. And again, just want to thank you so much for your time. And if I haven't met you, looking forward to understanding how best we can help. And then I will pass it on to both my good friends, Emily and Chelsea. I'll pass it off to Chelsea first. Been longtime partner with Fiona and worked with her on a number of projects and just really excited to be able to present something with both her and Emily. So Chelsea, I'll go ahead and pass on the mic to you for an introduction.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. My name is Chelsea Booker, and I am a senior Salesforce consultant at Fiona. I've been with them for about 5.5 years now, and in that time, I've implemented FormAssembly and Salesforce together many times. So I've really enjoyed getting to know the FormAssembly product and how it works in conjunction with Salesforce. I'll turn it over to Emily to introduce herself.
Awesome. Thank you, Chelsea. So yeah, hi everyone. My name is Emily Wright. I'm a senior research analyst here at InfoTech Research Group. So basically in my role, I work with tech marketing teams to really help turn their customers into loyal advocates. So using our SoftwareReviews, which is a division of InfoTech Research Group, using our data there, I really partner with our clients to kind of uncover what's actually driving satisfaction and loyalty and turning those insights into actionable strategies for our clients. So I've been here 6.5 years at InfoTech now, and prior to that was in consulting for a few years doing like IT and business strategy. So been a long time in B2B marketing and everything. But yeah, very data driven. So excited for our session today. It should be a good one. I'll pass
Love
it back to
it.
Paul.
Thank you so much, Emily. Yeah, and I just want to share during the presentation and working with these two, it was amazing just to hear just the amount of data that they both collect and then really able to translate that into actionable insights. So I'm really excited to get to both of their sections because it is really cool. So I'll go ahead and start this webinar with a poll. So the first thing that we're going to do is just ask the audience, what challenges are you facing when it comes to your data collection processes? So I'll go ahead and leave this up here for a little bit, and really we'll just take this and give a better understanding of what we're looking for, and then also it'll inform future webinars, hopefully. And leave that on there for a little bit. That's easy. Good. Seeing some. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much for the participation. This is great. Okay. Lack of compliance coverage. Okay. Ability to easily create forms in minutes. That's awesome. Okay. And we will make make these available as we go through. Okay. Great. Well, it looks like a lot of these answers are resonating with you, and quite candidly, in my job and when I go talk to people at events and in person, these are some of the things that they share with me, things that are top of mind in today's market. Fantastic. All right, thanks a lot. And then we'll go ahead and move on to the next poll question. Okay. All right, and here are the results. So it looks like we've got, oh, it's really spread out. So a lot of manual and time-consuming corrections resulting from bad data. Chelsea and I were literally talking about this in preparation for the webinar. Outdated systems and lack of integrations. Okay, that's a good one too. What we hear a lot is a consolidation movement. A lot of people are saying, hey, we need to do this, but also we need one tool to be as flexible as we can with our tech stack as much as possible. Compliance coverage and security issues, that is a huge one. I hear that a lot. I don't know about you all, but the number of spam texts and the quality of the spam texts that I've been getting is incredibly scary. I always am like, did I do that? Like I got one the other day for a speeding ticket for the DMV, and I was like, wait a minute, why would they text me? And then we've got unlimited forms and responses. Okay, that's good. And then ability to easily create forms in minutes. That's a good one as well. Oh, this is great. So it is really well spread out. The good news here that I'm really excited for is that we are going to be able to speak to each one of these topics. Creating forms in minutes is something that I definitely hear as we, again, the consolidation play. And what I hear a lot of is that people are always being asked to do more with less. Right, so we want the most flexible, most robust tools, but without having to add as much admin time or complexity in learning yet another application. So thank you so much for the audience participation. I'll go ahead and move this along. Oops. So those are the results. Okay, and excited to get into the data for discussion today, like we were talking about. So SoftwareReviews compared over 100 data points on the performance of various applications and enterprise software across a number of different areas. Okay, so some of the topics, why we asked that question is, what are the product features and functionality that you can get for each category? What are the bare minimum table stakes that we should be looking for as we take a look at the applications that we choose to run our business and that we choose to learn and put into our tech stack? And then taking a look at the customer satisfaction, because we all know that post-sales support or post-implementation support is critical in adoption, not only in the short term, but for any long-term projections you have as it relates to anything changing in your environment. So we'll go ahead and cover that bullet as well. And then lastly, we're going to talk a little bit about the overall user satisfaction metrics. How happy are you or we, and why? So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it on to Emily.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting too what you touched on in the poll. It's a lot of what we're seeing here on the InfoTech side in our SoftwareReviews division, really looking into the data. So what we're seeing is, the online forms market, it's booming. It's currently being driven by, there's ongoing demands for automation, digital transformation, enhanced security is a big one. We see that a lot. And then obviously more efficient data flows. Those are all things that are kind of moving things forward. So we've really come a long way. Forms platforms have evolved from just simple data capture tools into really powerful platforms that actually do a great job of streamlining operations, enhancing data accuracy, and ultimately reducing costs too across various industries where they're used. We're also seeing now, obviously, with advancements in AI and machine learning, that this is really furthering this along. So it's really taking forms into this more interactive, user-centric experience that's really boosting engagement and satisfaction. So we've come a long way. And more than ever, I think they're being seen as like more strategic tools for driving outcomes and not just for collecting data anymore. We've really progressed. So overall, what we're seeing on the InfoTech SoftwareReviews side is that buyers are wanting online form solutions that they're mobile friendly, they're personalized, they have the ability to easily integrate with core business systems in order to really streamline that work and deliver actionable insights. Obviously, security and data privacy are major concerns too, along with compliance. And all that tied together with a seamless user experience, it's a lot. And these are top priorities, obviously, for both vendors and buyers. Unfortunately, what I still see in our data is that a lot of vendors in this space still kind of fall short on these areas that are really critical to long-term customer satisfaction and success. So despite strong automation and integration that we see across a lot of online form solutions providers, we do see shortcomings in really critical areas like the overall user experience design, product strategy, and user support and training. So I think going forward, we're going to see much greater focus on vendor support and enablement, really co-innovation between vendors and their clients, and those deeper long-term relationships. So that vendor as partner to companies is really going to be reshaping software vendor selection overall, but also particularly in online forms as buyers prioritize these elements. So what is really driving satisfaction in online forms? So just to give some context to the data insights I'll be showing too, and understand more what SoftwareReviews, the data that we're pulling. So obviously data is critical in making smart vendor decisions. We all know this. But you don't want to be relying on just any data. Obviously, we want to be looking at the right stuff that's going to really inform your decision to make sure you're making a smart vendor partner selection. So our goal at SoftwareReviews and InfoTech Research Group is to really guide software buyers through this complex process and help them by using the right data to inform these decisions. So the data we collect here, it's 100% user-driven. We collect hundreds of thousands of user reviews across software categories. It's feedback straight from users. There's no interference or bias from analysts. So just to give some context of where that's coming from. We look at over 100 different data points to measure customer satisfaction across multiple aspects of the software experience. So it's really, we dig a lot deeper than others you may have seen. So I want to explain these three main areas. So obviously you have in the green your features and functionality. These are table stakes. This is obviously, everyone measures this. We of course are no different. These are things you have to have them. It's important no matter what. But at the same time, like, is this really what's going to be driving that deep long-term satisfaction? We'll look into that more. But so we go a little bit deeper, focus on different satisfaction drivers in that full spectrum of the user experience. So we get into things like the value drivers down below in the yellow, and then also our emotional footprint aspects up there in the purple. So that really gets into like the relationship aspects here. So obviously, yes, features and functionality, obviously important, but we want to look at those key value drivers as well as your relationship aspects in the emotional footprint. So we look into things like, are you seen as being selfish? Is your service efficient or is it inefficient? Are you, kind of like wasting people's time, even if you're not intending to, or you're helping your customers to save time? Are you helping them to innovate? Are you enabling greater productivity? So these are all things that we really look at as aspects of that full customer experience and are important things to look at for, when you're through that vendor selection process that aren't always measured and considered, but we find are very highly correlated to satisfaction. So now looking specifically at online forms. So you can see in the list here, what's most important to online forms buyers. So when looking at the data for online forms, we see just how critical those relationship aspects are represented in the emotional footprint. So on the right in all the purple, those are all emotional footprint aspects. So the top 10, these are the top 10 most highly correlated to satisfaction. So these are the things that drive satisfaction the most, that long-term value, it's all within that emotional footprint. So, and that's obviously not to say, again, that features and functionality aren't also critical or correlated to satisfaction too. It's just these are the most highly related. So these are things that moving forward, vendors really need to consider when, they're considering the full customer experience and what they're offering, what that looks like. So specifically for online forms, this includes things like product reliability, how well the tool enables productivity for its users, what it's like to interact with customer success or support teams through, things like respect, through effectiveness, how well are they resolving issues, and how well they're helping, they're innovating themselves and subsequently helping their clients to innovate too. So essentially buyers want a partner that is prioritizing them, that's protecting their data. Is obviously see security is a big one at number 2. That's treating them well, is trustworthy, is helping them to grow. So really, in essence, a true partner and not just a vendor. So it's really important that buyers consider an online forms provider that can deliver both on capabilities, but also be able to provide that strong customer user experience and also build that strong partnership to really, deepen relationships with their clients. So what we see buyers trip up on a lot in the software vendor selection process is they end up choosing based on more short-term needs that only drive more surface level satisfaction. So we kind of see that in the top iceberg there. These are things that, while important to enabling adoption and, get you excited about moving to a new vendor, and, it's not really going to drive that long-term business value. So it's the deeper satisfaction drivers, like your quality of features, your usability and intuitiveness, and ease of customization. Those are the things that are actually going to drive satisfaction and value in the long run. So for the online forms category specifically, we see in the numbered list on the right, the top vendor capabilities are largely connected to the areas of deeper satisfaction. So these are solid indications that obviously it's important, of course, for a vendor to provide that strong initial onboarding, but especially important to have that high ease of use and that business value created over the long term. So for vendors, obviously making sure you're hitting these things, and then also for buyers, really be looking and evaluating your vendors based on these qualities. Lastly, so we do see, and I apologize for the wonky wording on this, sometimes things upload a little funny, but further enhancing the importance of choosing the right vendor. Organizations, once they choose a vendor, they tend to stick with the vendor even though they're not happy. And we see this all the time. We don't like seeing it. We want people to be happy, obviously, with their vendors and getting as much as they can out of it and being able to grow themselves. So it's a bit frustrating to see this. So according to our data, 92% of users said that they will renew, while only 64% said they would recommend their current partner. So that's a huge gap in renewals and satisfaction, which is also why we recommend do not just only rely on renewal metrics. But so this really highlights the risk of you're involved in making software purchases. You want to make sure you're choosing a partner that's going to be making you happy in the long run. So another thing our data shows is that the benefits of switching are far greater than the actual pain of switching. So yes, it's a painful process, but we promise it's worth it. So what we found was 80% of organizations, once they actually did change their vendor, were more satisfied. So that's significant. That is most customers are happier after switching. And then among that, over half of the organizations were 60% more satisfied after changing their vendors. So that's a significant jump in satisfaction. So we do encourage stop waiting, stop putting it off. Just start the process, do your due diligence, and make that leap. So for online forms buyers in the end, it's imperative that you consider how a vendor solution is going to contribute to that business value, support your goals, how that user experience really heightens adoption, ensures long-term satisfaction, and maximizes productivity and outcomes. So that is it for me. I will pass it back to Paul.
Thank you so much, Emily. That was really insightful, and I just love the comprehensive take that you and InfoTech does when you are sharing how people should evaluate software. A lot of the times when I talk to partners and then customers, they are really concerned about the switching costs. So that last slide that you showed, was really telling, for me as a statistic, because obviously I want to be speaking to that when I talk to these customers. And so plug for everybody, please go check out the wonderful work that InfoTech does. Obviously, that you can see how comprehensive that they view overall satisfaction for really choosing the stuff that drives your business. And so that is a really good seg because what I want to talk about here is a little bit about real world customer stories with Chelsea. And really, one of the themes that Emily had brought out in all of that information that she was sharing with everybody is really having a great team to support and partner with you. And so that is one of the things why I really like working with Chelsea and with Fiona, because we'll take a look at a mutual customer's current situation, make recommendations across what they're really trying to do, really trying to get to the heart of what we're trying to solve for, so we can give people options. And that's why I was really excited to see the poll question answers so spread out, because we're going to talk about that. And so I'll get right into it with the next slide. A little bit about FormAssembly, and we're going to start at the Salesforce integration. Oh, sorry about that. We're going to start at the form creation tools. Really, the idea here from the slide is we want to make sure that we're empowering people to quickly, at the end user level, at the middle layer, at the top, we want to make sure that we're enabling every department, every person to easily, quickly, and create a beautiful web form that really will act as an adjustment point for both your internal and external processes. We want to make sure that we're doing that easily, whether that's with the use of AI, which is incredible across all industries, but really being able to spin up a form really quickly with that, giving you options for publishing, and again, creating forms from either your current system of record or from scratch, and then using that to improve the quality of the data that you're collecting. And Chelsea's going to talk about that a little bit here after we talk about it. Really, the takeaway here is build the form beautifully, and then make sure that you got the options that you need for capturing that data securely, but then moving that data to make sure that it's actionable. At the education summit that I was just at, one of the terms that was bandied around a lot that I really tied to was everybody's data hungry. Right now, everybody wants all of that data, right, Chelsea? But then when they get to it, what do we do with it? And before I flip it over to you, it's the piece that collects it and then moves it, but then also, are we asking the questions around compliance? Are we making sure that our constituents and that our customers and that our partners are able to really understand how to help their customers mitigate the risk in collecting data? And are we doing that responsibly and efficiently, and really becoming great stewards of the data? So great segue into, Chelsea, maybe a little bit of experience that you could share. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Right, absolutely, Paul. So just to kind of highlight a couple of things that he was mentioning earlier, I have a lot of experience implementing FormAssembly with clients, again, mostly in conjunction with Salesforce, but they're using FormAssembly much broader than just getting that information into Salesforce. And one of the things that I think clients really love about it is that intuitive design and form builder piece. So the form builder's intuitive interface is really just exceeding client expectations. People that I'm working with, they're not necessarily admin level. So these are not the technical, like, operations support people. These are clients in the business unit that want to collect information from their clients, the people that they're working with. And one of the stories that I have from recently is we had a client that we actually only planned in our implementation to build them like 4 forms to start them off, right? They're going to buy FormAssembly, but we want to get them some of those critical forms to start, donation forms, really important, applications, really important, kind of those things that as you're going live with Salesforce and FormAssembly, those are like the first ones off the block. But they actually built out probably 20 or more forms before we even launched. So like in that period where they're doing the pre-launch testing, they built out those forms independently. So not even with my support necessarily, other than on a few things. But I thought that was just a really good testament to, these are people that are new to Salesforce and FormAssembly. They're new to, they're kind of taking on a little bit more of that technical role, but they're not, behind the scenes technical people normally. So I thought that was just a really good testament to how easy it is for people to get off the ground and start building out those forms to get that data that they're looking for. The other thing that I think is special about FormAssembly is some of that enterprise grade design that's really reducing the user friction when they're going. You don't want to have this choppy experience for people. So organizations are making really substantial Salesforce investments, and that user experience is really impacting the return on investment. The custom theme designer enables a more elevated, brand consistent styling to, again, just reduce that friction in our clients' interaction with their systems. And it's not just aesthetics, it's really about creating the professional touch points that your clients are going to have with your organization to reflect the sophistication of your Salesforce investment. People are spending a lot of time and a lot of money getting this stuff off the ground, and you want to enhance that user adoption and make those connections, get out of it what you're putting into it.
That's fantastic. And I was going to say it really ties back to what Emily was saying, where you want to look for a platform that helps you innovate, and that's continually improving. One of the things I hear when I'm on discovery calls with you is you let the subject matter experts be the subject matter experts, right? And so I know I've been on a couple calls with you, and you are really great at teasing that out. And to all of your point, it's let's give you the tools, let's show you how to use it so you can do what you do, right? And then as far as branding, and I'm going to move on to the next slide after this. Again, I'm referencing the education summit that I was just at. People really tie to the school mascots. And so that was one of the things that I hear about across all organizations. And they're like, look, if you can't get the pine green in the Oregon Ducks logo correct, then we might have a problem here. Everybody could probably guess where I went to school. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and flip it to the next slide. No, that was really insightful. The next thing is, like Chelsea was saying, Salesforce, right? It doesn't have to be Salesforce, but it is a huge system of record for a number of people. And we really pride ourselves on having best-in-class Salesforce connection. What I want to highlight on the slide is we're able to do web to any Salesforce object, whether or not that's a custom object or a standard object, really allowing you the flexibility and then letting the experts like Fiona to really design your Salesforce org the way that it's going to optimize your current processes. We can do that also by pre-filling forms for a better user experience. So you can call up a form, and if the data is known, like your name, your email address. I can't tell you how many times I've been to a medical office where those forms can get long. And I know that they have my name, address, and email because they send me bills. So how come I can't get that experience when I get the intake form? So that's one thing. And then you can quickly create simple forms with any field that you pulled from Salesforce, which we'll talk about here in a second. Again, that integration is bi-directional. And you can do things that will save you time, like dynamically populate drop-down lists in your form with values that are garnered from a Salesforce pick list, meaning you only have to oversee one system, and then you make that change in Salesforce. The next time that a respondent, one of your customers, a partner, a vendor, next time that they call up that form, it's going to pull the values live from your Salesforce org. And before I hand it over to Chelsea to put real color into this, my mother asked me what I did last year. And I showed her a Salesforce org, and she looked really confused. But then I showed her a web form, and she was like, oh yeah, I just filled one of these out. And so it's one of these things where we really want to make sure we're collecting the data and then putting it exactly where you want to go, or where you want the data to go. Right, Chelsea?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I wanted to touch on a little bit as well, is people are used to filling out forms, and we're starting to see there are some places sometimes in implementations or business processes that an organization has where FormAssembly can kind of fill in the gaps. So if people don't really need Salesforce access, so maybe they're just adding contacts right? And they're an executive and they're just adding context, but they're not going to be someone that's really using on a day-to-day basis, entering records, updating records. We're kind of seeing FormAssembly fill in the gap for some of those users. So it is enabling, instead of training maybe an executive or a CEO on this is all the things you can do in Salesforce and how, it's just getting them one form to fill out. You're still getting their input into Salesforce where it can really be digested and move through the process. But it's serving as kind of that intelligent intermediary, which I liked this phrase, like feed the CRM. So that's taking your form information and sending it to Salesforce, but then also kind of feeding the people. So opposite example there, if you're not having an executive that just needs to add some contact information or something like that, maybe you have someone that just needs to see, an end user group or an external to your organization user or business process that you need to push that information out. You don't need Salesforce licenses to kind of build that whole piece. You just need to give them this one form so they can sign their consent, right? So it can go both ways. And I think that approach really reduces the training overhead while still maintaining that data integrity and some of that user productivity. So I think that can really make an impression on both executives, but also external users to your organization.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's a great seg into the workflow automation part, right? I love that phrase too that you use, like feeding the people, feeding the CRM, and focus less on the application, but more on what we are actually trying to solve. And
Right.
I love that, right? Like feeding the CRM. And this is one way that you could do this. A little bit about our process builder. We've got a workflow builder that runs the operations, behind the scenes in FormAssembly. It's a really simple tool. The point here is that you can build really sophisticated data flows. So to Chelsea's point, let's feed the people, let's feed the CRM. How are we going to do that? With a workflow builder, a good one, you're going to want to make sure that you're connecting multiple forms, multiple people, adding in a document generation step should you have those needs, adding an e-signature step and an approval workflow should you have those needs as well. And then, oh, by the way, making sure that you've got one data point for ingestion, and then being able to send that data to not only systems of record, but payment gateways, different applications that might use webhooks. So really, what I'm trying to communicate here is using all of these different things in one system at the ingestion point is going to improve the decision making, like Chelsea was alluding to. Like, let's train and reduce that admin time, but make everything operational, right? And then teamwork and in real time as the information from the form comes in, then we're really able to disseminate that information to the people who actually need to use it at the right time, and then make sure that they feel good and empowered by having the data feeding the people that is accurate, that they can trust. Any thoughts there, Chelsea?
Yeah. So one of the things that I just wanted to add on to the workflow automation piece is it's really just amplifying what you used to be able to do just with one form. You're able to kind of operationalize the whole process. And we are starting to see at Salesforce in particular an evolution towards more flexible and industry agnostic solutions. And so organizations are facing increasingly complex data models when they're looking at Salesforce. So nonprofit cloud, right, is the new Salesforce product, and it's much more flexible. But some of the trade-off on that is the data model is much more complicated. So in your database, you have a lot more different tables that you're trying to connect. And FormAssembly's connectors and some of these, that are sort of highlighted in the workflow automation pieces are eliminating that complexity for end users by enabling one form or a workflow of multiple forms to just seamlessly capture and populate data across 5, 8, 10 Salesforce databases. And that's just transforming what would traditionally require multiple processes into one streamlined workflow, delivering a lot of operational efficiencies for our clients.
Yeah, amazing. Oh, thank you so much, Chelsea. And again, just to talk a little bit about, your work, like you said, there's all these products coming out, the tables have changed, and it's really great to have you in these projects to really help people understand what that means for them. And so that's great because you've got like such a great sense holistically about what this does. And we haven't even touched on AI. Like that's just the NPC product. You want to feed the AI that's going into Salesforce with accurate data, and your team is exceptional at doing that. Like really, just from hearing you talk, you're talking about the process, and then I heard 10% was the application, right? And so I think that it's a theme that that we're really trying to tie to here. So the next slide here is the custom built connectors. Look, I kind of already alluded to this, right? It's Chelsea's point as well. Let's feed the CRM, right? We can send documents, we can send file uploads. There's a lot of vertical and industries that I talk to, they still don't want to get away from paper. If you want to do that, let's help you do that. A number of different other applications that we've seen customers and partners connect to are Excel and Google Sheets. Like to Chelsea's point, right? Like sometimes you might not need a Salesforce license, but you need that flexibility, and it's critical that somebody gets the information in the format they need. And so in other words, what I'm saying is I've done a lot of projects where we don't need to have a Salesforce license, but the team that needs that information needs it in a spreadsheet, because we've got a lot of constituents that's where they live, right? And so we want to make sure that we're choosing an application that can seamlessly and in real time move that data to the system of record, notify those people, and then move it to something like a spreadsheet or another application and notify those people at the same time. So now we're working in parallel to become efficient and then serving all of our customers, partners, what have you, right? We also have a HubSpot integration. And so shameless plug for me, I am very proud to own the go-to-market for that. And so a lot of what we're doing there is modeling exactly what we have done for thousands of Salesforce customers and making sure that we're giving you options for the systems of record that you're choosing. And not just systems of record, but really your tech stack. So you can see a lot of the logos up here. Happy to answer any questions about how those integrations work, but really just want to empower really our customers and our partners with the power of choice and the tech stack, right? So the last thing that I want to really highlight here is, and we'll go that to the next slide, but maintaining compliance with the direct integrations. One thing to note that you really want to look out for is when you start adding applications to your tech stack, make sure that you're asking the question, if the data gets moved to different applications, does the compliance requirements still carry over as well? Right, because I've seen a lot of projects where we've advised people that, hey, this is great if you want to move the data this way, but let's make sure that we're informing you of if it leaves this particular application, then it's not going to comply with certain compliance rules that you need. And so it's always really, I don't want to say rewarding, Chelsea, that's not the right word, but I always feel good about it because whenever I talk to people and they say, you know what, I never thought about that. That's one of the most rewarding sentences that I can hear, as a rep, because I'm like, all right, well, great. Like, let's talk about that. Let me make sure that I inform you. And then the next slide that I'm going to go to is security and compliance. Did you want to talk about any other applications here, or do you want me to just kind of go on?
I don't think so. I didn't have anything to add here, but I think it just demonstrates kind of the breadth of options that you would have with FormAssembly. Obviously, a Salesforce advocate here, but there are other options as well, and it's just very flexible. And so should needs arise, even in the future that you may not be anticipating yet, of bringing in SharePoint, you have kind of that future-proofing piece with how many different connectors they're offering.
Thank you so much. Yeah, okay, great. Security and compliance. Okay, there are a lot of acronyms on here. Okay, but the net takeaway here is when we work with our partners, we're well versed, right? And to what Emily was saying earlier, some of these are table stakes, right? If you have questions about what these mean, please reach out to us. We will definitely help you understand how it fits in your landscape and what your organizations are trying to do, mission statements, anything like that. But the net of what we're trying to communicate on this slide is that we take a lot of pride in making sure that we're being great stewards of our customers' data. And that starts all the way from the top with our founder. We take trainings, and really here is the breadth of the investments that we made in making sure that we're compliant and mitigating the risk of people collecting data, so you all can, really do your thing with asking questions. So the one that I really want to highlight here is, GDPR is a good one because compliance requirements will change globally. And so net of what I'm trying to say here is that we have a lot of customers and partners that do business or have customers or students in other areas of the world. You want to be looking at an application that will be able to help you maintain that level of compliance globally. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I'm going to say is we all also have invested heavily in our FedRAMP. And what that is, it's a government compliance requirement. And so the takeaway here is that table stakes, kind of like what Emily's saying, but we did the work to make sure we can be compliant in that area as well. So happy to answer questions there. And the third piece is data localization. So globally, you want to be looking for a provider that can spin up an instance if the requirement is for the data to reside in that geographic location. And so we're able to do that, right? So for example, if you need the server to live in Canada or the data to stay in Canada, make sure you're looking for an application that will allow you to do that seamlessly, right? And they can prove it. And then in the data presented earlier, this is how we deliver on the security piece that Emily had talked to from her insights from the InfoTech security piece. And I think that that's pretty much, the real takeaway from this slide. I know it is a lot of acronyms, but if you have any questions about any of these or how it might fit into your organization, we're happy to answer that, right? So, yeah, I think, Chelsea, you got anything there? Okay.
I don't think so. I think you covered it.
Perfect. I think I covered it. All right, awesome. Okay, so it's a couple more. Again, in that third piece of Emily's Venn diagram, post-sale support, right? After you've selected everything and after you've been implemented and set up, how can we mirror our partners' ability to deliver on post-sale support? So really the takeaway here is that we won a Stevie Award a number of years in a row. And what that is, for those of you in the audience that might not know, it is an organization that grades support teams on how well they deliver on after-sales support. And so we're very proud, and I'm very proud to represent the FormAssembly support team here when I say that it is awesome when I am somewhere and somebody says, we love your product and we love the support that we get from it. Because to Chelsea's point earlier, you've got a lot of working complex systems, and we need to make sure to reduce the work for people, right? And it's very important to get an accurate and caring response within a timely manner. So that's really what this is, right here. And so just wanted to share that that piece. We offer a lot of different packages, but really the net here is that you can get SLAs and that every single FormAssembly customer has access to post-sale support. Okay, awesome. And we're gonna go ahead and go poll. Yeah, if you're interested in learning more about FormAssembly can help your staff, please, reply here, and then we'll make sure to reach out and then really just understand what your situation is so we can make recommendations. Okay, so I'll leave this poll up here for a couple of seconds, and then we're going to go ahead and get right into the questions because I know that we see a lot in the chat. We're doing really well on time. So I'll go ahead and leave this, and let's take a look at the questions. Okay. All right. Okay, awesome. Okay. And we can go ahead and start taking a look at the questions. Okay. Move that up here real quick. Okay, well, thanks so much all for answering that. Okay. Okay, awesome. All right, so we'll go right into the questions here. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can pull the questions up here. Okay. All right, so we got one. Yeah, feel free to chat that, put those in the Q&A. Okay, so the first one is, I can see that you can help collect signatures via workflow automation. Yep. How robust is this feature to support multiple signatures like a signing tool would? Yep, absolutely. It's a great question. So happy to send that link out on our landing page, or I'm sorry, the information lives on our homepage, but yes, it is, you can assign signatures as you would using just the individual form. But we've now added is a an approval process. And so you literally can take any document that you want, scan it to FormAssembly, and then you can fill any of the fields in that document with any form response. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I'm noting that, because you can take the form response, put that on the document, and that also includes a signature field. So you can have that signature field be one person, or what you can do in the workflow engine is you can have an approval process where someone will sign it, and then the next person in the approval order will get a notification for them to take a look at that document. They will go ahead and sign it. And by the way, all of the response data is captured and stored for you. And then what happens is after everybody's approved, then you can designate and specify in the workflow how you want that information to be shared out and disseminated. So that's a great question. Okay. Does that answer your question? Hope so. Okay. Awesome. Okay, great. Let's see. See, we got another good one. Okay. Can FormAssembly integrate using Zapier? We recently changed marketing agencies, and the new agency is having a difficult time integrating with FormAssembly. Any tips? Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a big question. So I'll make sure to follow up with you, Daniel, after that. But it's an interesting point that you bring up. So yes, we can, but I really would just want to understand your situation, because this is one of the things that I was talking to earlier, where I've used Zapier a lot. I know a lot of people do, but depending on your requirements, it is one of those things where it's going to lead one application to another, right? And so you just want to be conscious of that if that's a requirement for you. But we do have a great knowledge base on how to integrate with Zapier, so we'll make sure to follow up with you post-call to make sure I really understand that. So the short answer is yes, but I caveat that with, let me ask a couple of questions more, so that way I can again inform you with better options, so I can really understand what it is that we're trying to do, because we might not even need Zapier, but if we do, we'll inform you for the best way to roll that out. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Yeah, maybe Chelsea or Emily, you guys can help me out with this one. But what's a small but powerful change you've seen in making a big difference in how teams collect or use data? I like that one. That's a good one. I think for me, I'll kick it off. Like mobile, I work with a lot of schools, and it's amazing. I don't even think kids are going to know what a laptop is 5 years from now. Have you seen anything, Chelsea, in how teams are collecting or using the data?
Yeah, one of the things not necessarily specific use cases. I mean, you can build a form to pretty much do anything, but one of the things that's really nice about it is, especially with the Salesforce integration, there's this piece where everything you're wanting to collect is always custom, right? There's a lot of flexibility with, I want to have different choices. I want to have different multi-select, single select, because this makes sense for my business. And you're able to do that really easily and integrate it with Salesforce in that, even with all those customizations. So one of the things that we had talked about before the call was the deep integration versus kind of that surface level connection. And or like, yes, it connects to Salesforce kind of barely versus that deep integration. And it's really important that as you're choosing a tool, especially if you're doing some of these integrations, that they do have that very deep, flexible connectors and integrations so that you can customize your front end experience however you need to. Whatever it is, you want to be able to present that, give the right options, right? Steer people to only select one, select five, all of that, and then get that information into your CRM or into some of the other places that Paul was mentioning with the other connectors. So whatever you're wanting to collect, you want it to be flexible enough that you can change it and customize it. And I think FormAssembly really enables that.
Oh, thanks so much, Chelsea. Yeah, and then Emily, you're hearing anything on your end before I added that statement?
I think that pretty much covers it. I don't know that I would have much more to add, to be honest.
Yeah, okay, that was perfect. I just wanted to make sure that it's a really engaging question. And then so to Chelsea's point too, what she was talking about earlier is empower the people that are building the forms to be able to do it, with the steering, a little bit of guidance, but the front end part as well, making sure we stay on brand for all of our marketers in the room. Because I know one of the questions that we just had, was a marketing question, right? So what I love about working with Chelsea's team is that they're able to see it from so many different angles, because she's talking about the operational piece, but then also spoke to the branding piece, right? Like, can we make the front end look the way that you want it to, because that's really important. And then how hard is it to do that? And who do we need to involve? And so that's something that we really pride ourselves on, again, with that theme builder. I've yet to run into a scenario, and I'm not even joking when I say this, where we haven't been able to meet someone's branding requirements, and some of them get very specific. And I think that is important, because a lot of the times the form front end is literally the first experience that somebody has with your brand or company. So we want to make sure that that is really sharing that sentiment. Okay, Mitchell's.
And another thing, Paul, just to add to that, we haven't touched on this yet, but just accessibility and some of those requirements that we're seeing more and more of, being able to use screen readers, some of that. We've done some audits on FormAssembly for our organization, clients that are specifically serving communities with disabilities, to make sure that like everything's accessible, everything is able to be kind of translated for different devices and different people that have unique needs. And so that's been another really reassuring thing with FormAssembly as well, is that accessibility piece, and something that they're doing a really great job keeping up with those requirements.
Oh, thanks for calling that out. Thank you. That is great. Yes, we really pride ourselves on that as well. Thank you. Okay, so I got a great one here, and I really want to share it with the group. So from the response that we had given earlier, it seems like the form does not have to be built via the form builder, but an existing form can be scanned. Absolutely. I'm so excited for this, and I will send this to everybody on this call, or you can visit www.formassembly.com, share your friends, share with your neighbors, share with whoever. We are really excited to bring this feature to market, where you can literally take any PDF form. You can select create a form from the PDF, and then you can upload the PDF, and then within minutes, FormAssembly is going to build you the skeleton for this form. So then that way you can start to, it already spits it out for you. So then that way you can just make minor tweaks to it. It is really great to help organizations scale. And I'll give you a couple of examples here, just because it's really close to my heart and top of mind as I was testing it. I live in Oregon. I already said the Oregon Ducks plug, but what I did to test this is I pulled an Oregon DMV form, and I scanned that, and it was able to render the form in minutes, but then also understand where the required fields were, and also if there were supporting documents needed. It created a field that literally says attach the file here. And so it's just a great way for you to test a complex form, add forms really easily and build them. The second use case, again, is I was working with somebody on the government side. And one of the things that we had talked about was requisition forms. And I did my research, and then I pulled a requisition form from a government website, probably like 7 pages long, and then I scanned that, and then that took probably about 3 minutes to render. But it gave a beautiful, pretty much 95% replica of this form. And then I just made some tweaks to it, and it's just a really, really cool feature for everybody to test out and play with it. What was I going to say? Any PDF will work with it. So all you have to do is take a PDF, scan it, your form's done. So I'm hoping that that
that's
helps,
amazing.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, sorry, Chelsea, go ahead.
No, that's just amazing. I haven't actually gotten to see that feature yet, so excited to try it out.
Yeah, right. It's really cool, especially too, because a lot of the times I bet you get this requirement too, right? Where they're like, can you just help me digitize my process, make it more efficient, but just copy the paper forms that I have now? I get that a lot, you know, and this empowers people to, you know, do it quickly and easily. And it's frankly just really cool. So,
yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, I know we got about 5 minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I know we've got some questions here. We'll make sure to follow up with everybody. This has been an awesome session. So before you go, please visit the Resource Center to download the full report. Right, I encourage everybody to take a look at this because it's just really insightful and made me think about a lot of things that I didn't think about before. And I've been in the industry for 15 years at this point. Number 2, get in touch with Fionta. They are awesome. I don't know what else to say there. Yeah, get in touch with them. They have I've just done numerous projects with them, and they're going to be able to really help you understand, you know, what the current landscape is. You've heard Chelsea talk here, and they're amazing at just giving advice, right? And so I highly, highly encourage you to, you know, to get in touch with them. I'll make sure to send the link out for any of like the website, all that stuff. But it's just a really great outfit. And then schedule time with us. We can discuss anything you need, right? Any questions around data, for example, are really good topics for us to help you with. And then also, if you want to take a look at a demo of our platform, we're happy to do that. And then make sure and strive to fit that in the context of what you tell us, you know, for data collection, making sure that we share. Okay, and then the last slide here is just a little bit more about FormAssembly's web to anything forms and data collection. You know, what we want to leave you here with is, you know, make sure again that I really want to just thank Chelsea. I want to thank Emily for sharing their insight. Please go take a look at their insights. And then for us, you know, it's a flexible tool, a critical point in your data lifecycle process, the ingestion point, and just making sure that you're, you know, collecting it safely, securely, building the web forms the way that you want it to look, and then sending the data where you want to. You know, that's pretty much it. And then making sure you have a good team, kind of like that Emily said. So with that, Chelsea, Emily, do you want to end with any parting notes? I'm just saying thank you to everybody that's here.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. It was awesome, and I learned a few things myself. So looking forward to getting in touch with people.
Great,
thank you so much, Paul. This was great. And thank you for having me on as a speaker here. It was a great discussion. Yeah, hope everyone learned a lot from it. I mean, I learned a lot about you guys as well during this. This is great.
Thanks. Okay. Thank you very much.